Hello, my name is Marci Strickland, and I serve as one of the elders' wives in the Broward Church and work with our youth and family ministry. I'm joined today by my daughters Asia and JaNae for our fourth and final series of Called Her Blessed. Today we'll be focusing on Proverbs chapter 31, verses 28 through 31. And let's go ahead and get started. JaNae, would you read that for us?
Yes. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. And so, what do you both get from this?
Yeah, so I think just in reading this passage, I see a woman who, she doesn't seek after her own glory. Rather, she seeks after fearing the Lord, glorifying Him, and doing what's right by Him. And I think the world tells me and a lot of other women, that we need to strive to bring glory and honor and attention to ourselves. But what I really see here is a woman who's striving to bring glory and honor to God. And so, this woman, she's praised because she glorifies God and He raises her up. She surpassed other women, says her husband in these scriptures. And it's not because she's superwoman and can perform all these wonderful miracles. I wish I could, but I don't. But this is because she relies entirely upon the Lord, looking to Him for her strength and her guidance. I look at verse 31 and it says, let her works bring her praise at the city gate. I think about this and I think she doesn't have to say a word. Rather, she allows her actions and her work to speak for her. And so it can be a huge temptation for me to want to do something great, to pull it off, and want to call attention to it, calling everybody and their mama to see what I've done. But I see here in the scriptures, this woman doesn't do that. Again, she lets her work speak for her. And so I see the scripture, and I even think about the grad program that I'm in. I strive to imitate God in this program, being a light to those that are learning alongside with me. And I think I can't revel in my own academic achievements. I think that this is easier said than done because I want that attention. I want others to see how great I am, well, at least in my mind. But I'm taken back to the scripture and I'm resolved to letting God guide me, letting God exalt me and lift me up, letting my work speak for itself. And then, Mom, I look to you and I see the Proverbs 31 woman shining in you. And I love you. You are not superwoman, but you're pretty darn close. I think you're so quick to anticipate the needs of others, and you trust God even in your darkest hours. And I think that shines the brightest among all of us. And so this example may seem silly, but even when we were preparing for this lesson, I was sitting right over there and I was like, oh man, I really want my coffee mug. But I didn't want to get up. I was like, I want it, but I'm not going to go get it. And what's funny is you came walking over with your laptop and all of these things in your arms and my coffee mug. And I stopped and I thought, wow, my mom is a mind reader. And clearly you're not, but this shows that you really let God guide you. You anticipate the needs of others because you fear the Lord and you strive to do what's right by Him. And I think even aside from this, I've watched you weather many storms, whether I've been privy to your experiences or not. And I've never once have I seen you waver nor falter from God. You do quite the opposite, actually. You cling harder. And I think that in and of itself is harder. This woman clings to God. You cling to God. And I see that so well paralleled. And so, I can assume that you didn't learn to do this on your own. I think it's safe to say that you've had many, and you still have many Proverbs 31 women molding you and teaching you and shaping you. And now I have the opportunity to learn from you. And I think, wow, what a blessing. What an honor it is to learn from you. And it's kind of intimidating, but, I'm like, all right, my mom is doing this. I can do this too. And again, just looking at these scriptures, guys, like her woman calls her blessed, like she surpasses everyone. This woman seems unattainable, at least for me. I look at her and I'm like, man, I am so imperfect. I'm so flawed. There's no way I could achieve this. But again, I look and I say, wow, she's praised not because of who she is, but of who she fears. And I think that this woman, again, she's not unattainable. I think as it applies to women and me, myself, like women in my life stage, like Like we don't need to have this woman here. She's a wife and she's a mother, so she's got all of these different responsibilities. I don't necessarily have those responsibilities. I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. So I've got to think, like, how does this apply to me or other women in my position? But I've come to the conclusion that I don't need to have a husband or kids to have the qualities that she has. Rather, I need to fear God and let him mold me and pursue these qualities. You know, this isn't something that just fell in her lap. I'm pretty sure she had to work and, again, fear God over and over again. And so I think, again, like, we can all strive to put on these godly qualities, so long as we fear the Lord. And that's what I got from this passage. But Mom, I really want to know, like, what did you think?
Well, I think in a lot of ways you feel like, it feels like you've read my mind, you know. When I think about the Proverbs 31 woman, so many times we've heard Proverbs 31 woman, and if we're really honest with ourselves, we can struggle with her a little bit. I mean, she really feels like the modern day Wonder Woman or the Dora Milaje, the fierce warriors from Wakanda, who were bold, fierce, beautiful, strong women with abundant energy. When I think about this Proverbs 31 woman, you know, I get the feeling that it's so easy to think that the word perfect just pops into your head.
Yeah.
And if we're really honest about it, and honest about ourselves, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that she was a woman that strove for perfection. That wasn't her motivation. I think instead, what speaks volumes is what we don't see, which are the imperfections. You know, the things that society tells us, hide, don't show it, cover it up, don't let them see your flaws. And, you know, I think with her imperfections, because of how she was with, earlier on where it talked about her servant girls and how she managed her affairs, I just think that, you know, they got an up close personal view of her life.
Yeah.
You know, those in her household, they were ones that really witnessed her life, you know, her ups, her downs, her in-betweens. So I know that she had a lot of high moments as well as a lot of low moments too.
Good point.
And, you know, I can think, you know, about some of the low moments that I've had that you guys have seen up close and personal. JaNae, I don't know if you remember, we were going to work one morning and we were pulling out and the neighbor's lawn guy had just pulled up behind us with not enough space for us to turn out of the driveway. And so I thought, oh, if I just toot the horn, he'll move and we'll be on our way. Well, the complete opposite happened. I guess he had a bad morning and he got out of the truck cursing and saying very insulting things to me. And, you know, I'm sad to say that something within me at that very moment, it just snapped.
Yeah.
You know, I had the feeling of, how dare you talk to me and in front of my child? So it ended up very quickly, it escalated. I got out of, you know, my truck, and we ended up having an argument in the middle of the street. You know, whatever neighbors were out, they witnessed it. We said what we had to say. He ended up moving the truck. And when I got back in, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, JaNae has just witnessed her mom, you know, it's this crazy lady.
I remember
and
the text message.
Yeah. And so, you know, I apologized and, you know, I just really shared that, you know, I really could have handled that differently. And I think about other times when I've come home from work stressed, tired, lacking joy, really, you know, complaining, not being attentive to you guys or being very short or silent. And I've had to stop and think, wow, I'm taking my bad day out on my family, and that's not right. So I think the thing about her and with the imperfections and the highs and the lows is that those around her saw her go low, but they also saw her pick herself back up and strive to be better. The other thing that I think about with the Proverbs 31 woman, and she is totally amazing, is that I don't think she felt the need to prove herself to other people. In verses 30, it talks about charm and beauty, and how that's very deceptive and fleeting. As women, we can feel that we need to turn on that smile or flirt a little bit to make things go our way or, you know, get things to sway in our favor. But then right above it, in verses, it's verse 29, it says, women do noble things, but you surpass them all. And so I started thinking, wow, noble things. Those are things that are done in high regard, high, moral standards, just the epitome, of how something can be done. But it says that she surpasses them all.
Yeah.
And it left me wondering, wow, what is it about this woman where it surpasses, she surpasses all of them?
Yeah.
And the thing that I thought about is she's a woman that fears God. And you talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And I think in a world where, you have YouTube videos telling you do your eyebrows like this to look beautiful, do your hair this way and you'll look gorgeous, wear this and suck it in so that that dress fits just right.
Come on.
That was just not her. For her, her choice of makeup was her fear of God.
Yeah.
Her choice of makeup was God's definition of true beauty, which is really to fear him. And as I think about this, it's so easy because it talks about so many people around her praised her. Her husband praised her, her children praised her, I guess the people at the gates praised her too. And it's easy to want that praise because if we're really honest with ourselves as humans, we have that desire to either please someone or please ourselves. Someone in there is getting pleased.
Yeah.
But for her, I believe that in everything that she did, her motivation was driven by her fear of God and to please him first.
Yeah, good point.
And I think as a result, other people around her ended up being pleased, but ultimately, just with her heart to please God is what kept her going. Mm-hmm. And so as I think about these qualities, I've seen them in your lives as you've grown up and as you continue to mature into young women. And I think about this Proverbs 31 woman, and, the last little piece that I see here in her is that, she really learned. It took a long time to learn these things, trials and failures and getting back up and having victories.
Yeah.
And so as I've watched, and you've watched my life, I've watched a lot of women in and out of my life with these qualities, and trying to imitate them. And they've been women from all walks of life, different backgrounds, young, mature, single, married, with kids, without kids, moms, grandmothers, aunts.
Every flavor ice cream.
Every flavor ice cream, yes. And really big sisters and amazing friends to all. And, I really think this Proverbs 31 woman is definitely worthy of imitation. So, JaNae, you started us with the question of what did you get from this passage? The question now comes back to you. What did you get from this passage?
Well, for me, verse 31 connects to an earlier verse in this passage, verse 15, which reads, "She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants." Mm-hmm. Like, what I see from this woman is she's not sleeping in until the early hours of the afternoon or waiting for someone to tell her this is what needs to get done. Instead, she anticipates and she gets it done herself. She's almost like a self-starter. Also, this verse shows that she is a servant to all, even for those whose little job is to serve her. It says that she makes sure that there is portions for even her female servants. Yeah. And her humility I see here is similar to Jesus's, who he's a king. He should naturally be served. But Matthew 20, verse 28 describes him as someone who did not come to be served, but to serve. Right. So these verses in Proverbs, verse 15 and 31, show that the P31 woman is extremely productive, and not just that she can provide for herself, but for her whole household, servants included. So as a result, it is through God that God brings honor to her work, how she tends to and cares for her family, and how she looks after others. She's not a woman that really wants the spotlight from the world, so she does her work, and God allows her work to speak for itself. So I've seen this P31 humble servitude so clearly in you, Mom. I've seen you get up during the single-digit hours on Saturday mornings to spend the whole day taking care of others' needs. Yeah. I've seen you take time to do me and Asia's hair, and with our hair types, you know better than anyone. That is no easy feat. You consider all our needs when it comes to grocery shopping and meal prepping. During the late night hours, you will do runs to the store for project materials after you've already had an exhausting day at work and then a stressful bout with rush hour traffic and doing a ministry class planning session with Dad. So you've done so much, and still you extend yourself even further. And that's just some things, but you've done so many other things over the years throughout the course of my life that have just shown your humility and just your willingness to serve us, doing what it takes to do that. and you never slow. And like verse 18 here in Proverbs 31, like your lamp does not go out at the end of the day.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, I guess we've really learned a lot from this Proverbs 31 woman.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed studying it with her, and definitely having this time for us, as women to, talk about it together and what she means to each of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, again, this was the last installment for the Call Her Blessed series. We hope that you have been encouraged and inspired by this woman as we have been. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.